You have 2 minutes, Ms. Stevens.
Thank you so much for coming down.
Absolutely. Good morning, Madam Chair and members. I am here on behalf of the 540,000 public, college, and university students here in the state of Arizona. I am the executive director of the Arizona Students Association. One of the things that we work on every single year is registering students to vote and ensuring that they are civically engaged in our governmental processes. However, as you all know, a lot of their ability to be engaged and to actually vote in this election was inhibited by many of the things that you have already heard from today, and I appreciate each of you actually taking the time and asking the questions. There is one particular story that I want to share with you. I spoke to a student who just a few months ago returned to the state of Arizona after serving a year overseas. She is a soldier in the Army. She asked me not to share her name with all of you, but wanted to make sure that her story was part of the many that you will hear today. She came back from serving overseas. One of the first things she did was enroll in Australia Community College and re-register to vote after researching candidates and finding which candidate she most identified with. What she stated when telling me her story is, I just spent a year laying down my life to protect the rights of Americans. I faced death every single day. And one of the things I kept telling myself was it was worth it. I had to keep going. Our democracy, the rights of the American people, were worth me giving my life to defend them if need be. Yet, I come back, and the right to vote that I looked death in the eye for every single day for an entire year was taken from me, and from thousands of citizens in our state. And I am at a loss for words to describe how much that will torment me. This student, this soldier, was one of those many that we are hearing that registered as a party. And when they showed up to the polls on election day, they were told that they were registered as an independent. This is someone who has risked their life to defend each of our rights to vote. Remember her story, because she's not the only one. And while she risked her life to defend our rights to vote, it's all of our responsibility as citizens and as elected representatives that we ensure that her right to vote is defended. So thank
you. It does matter now. Like if you had the ability to put forth an extended voting period with same-day registrations and open primaries, it would pretty much change the country.
Do something now.
There's nothing we can do about what the election that just occurred. Obviously, we're trying to explore what the problems were. We can't go back and sort of retroactively give people extended time. That would be a violation of other issues that the Supreme Court's ruled on in the past.
Listen, next up, audience, I called this hearing so that you had an opportunity to engage and be on the record. Work with me. We need to make sure this is structured and timely so we can get to as many people, all of the people possible.
The fact she was very upset about also was that they called the election before even a very small percentage of people had a vote in that were waiting in line. And they were coming out and telling the people that were standing in line that your vote is not going to count. The election has been called. This is ridiculous. This is unjustifiable in any book. And I want justice for my daughter. I want a revote.
I know there'll be a number of folks who think we should scrap what just happened and redo it. It is not that simple. If we do that, it disenfranchises a lot of people who did vote, and then we're in all kinds of other legal water. So there's
allow another day of extended voting.
That's not.
Audience,
Madam Chair.
we have a way where we got to keep it a structured communication. Representative Mesnard?
Madam Chair, we will explore everything, but I just want you to be aware of what legal parameters we must work within. I mean, just being honest with you. I don't want to get somebody's hopes up that we can just snap our fingers and redo things. It does not work that way, but we will explore every possibility and try to come to the best decision we can as an elected body.
Sir, thank you so much for
considering the circumstances, maybe you could take the opportunity to respond to us for a simple question. And I'll throw in there with a revote. I'll say, you know what? I understand the parameters you got to work in, and I think the folks that set this stuff up understood the parameters too. So I think that y'all can work just as hard for us as you can for the 1%. Okay? So that being said, okay, my experience down there at my voting place, it was tough. There were people up there, you know, the elderly, the wheelchairs, canes like myself, and we're outside in the heat. There's no place to sit. They were out of provisional ballots at 7 a.m. and I've done my time volunteering. And I'm telling the guys, hey, you might want to send your guy down or girl and get some, because this looks like it's a pig in a poke. You can't do it. They don't want to be involved. So the problem I had was I'm standing there, and thank goodness I've got one of these things that folds out in a little tripod. I can sit. But so many people couldn't. They wheeled up there. Then on came the sprinklers. And the folks that were in the wheelchairs and this type of thing, they got hosed. And there was no parking. And people could not do it. And there were tons of people like myself that had to turn around. People that were crying, people that were in pain. They could not handle the wait times, and they left. Americans with Disabilities Act, we'd like a little consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Madam Chair, Mr. Palmer,
We need you back at the mic.
Yeah, if you just don't mind coming back to the mic for just a second.
sorry.
Thank you, sir. No problem.
I just want to apologize for your experience, sir, and this is why I believe that we shouldn't have outlawed ballot collecting for these very reasons.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We should not have made ballot collecting a felony for these very reasons.
With the words Purcell resign and Osborne resign. It's like, you know, instead of the boy who cried wolf, it's the two ladies are crying wolf all the time. I'm not going to fall for it this time. This has happened repeatedly. There's a whole train of events, missed dates in Spanish, all these previous elections, the arrogant response. And even though I personally might forgive these two human beings on my own, I have no right to forgive what they did, making other elderly old ladies, children, low-income people who waited in line for 5 or 6 hours. I can't forgive her for doing that to those people. So what I want to do now is say to you that it is not fact. I have to disagree. We've already had a special court case in the eastern United States where a district court has ruled in one election where they are having a revote. So that is not fact. I have friends whose names are on the Iraq wall out there, Iraqi operations thing that we had, who didn't come back with me from Iraq. And, you know, while I was there, I oversaw the Iraqi elections with the military police unit. And I got to tell you, they did it much better in Baghdad, Iraq than what happened last Tuesday. So we cannot have this. Arizona is our state. It's a beautiful state. I ask that you please, after we're all gone, do not just placate us. We need the voter suppression law, such as the so-called ballot harvesting, which is not. We need that immediately rescinded by the governor. And I'm just outraged. I'm outraged, and I do want to thank the one elected official who's had the courage so far to call for the resignation of somebody who's been entrenched in power for almost 30 years, Representative Jonathan Larkin. Thank you.
Concerns me because our community, I believe our rights to vote have been under attack.
This was a planned attack by Helen Purcell, and I think she ought to resign. People are in line for 4 hours. How does that happen? People are hungry. People in the heat. People, older people, standing in line 4 or 5 hours to vote. That's a problem. Helen Purcell, you really ought to resign. Yes. I mean, really, you should consider resigning after what you have done to the community. Also, I believe that we should have an extra day of voting. How can we call a winner when there are thousands of people still in line? How does that happen? Someone please explain to me. This is voter suppression at its best. Helen Purcell, please resign. Do us all a favor and resign.
But now I'd like to move to the Secretary of State.
Why are speakers being skipped? I signed in before Len Clark.
Yeah,
I signed in
okay.
before Len Clark. 8 a.m. Why are speakers being skipped? Why is that?
Listen.
Yeah, we're activists. That's why you guys are letting us speak.
Make the Secretary of State wait, like she made everybody else wait.
Yes.
And you're wondering if I can wait too.
We were here before them.
Okay, listen.
We can't vote. We can't speak on it. Why is this happening? What are you doing?
Okay.
Let them speak.
Please, you need to be able to respect one another. I can't hear a conversation. I can't hear when you're talking over each other. We've heard public testimony, and I'd like to get to the Secretary of State.
Just go down the line.
No. Yes, Representative Messer.
Madam Chair, I am not skipping you. I am not skipping you. I don't know.
Where's my name? I signed it. It's close to 8 o'clock this morning with Geoff Woods. Where are our names?
Madam Chair, for the sake of time, I'm not going to sit here and go back and search for all. We've gone through Madam Chair, we've gone through 10% of names. 10%. Okay, we're trying to get through them as quickly as possible. You can call me a liar if you like, if that makes you feel better, but it isn't true. I'm going down a list as it comes into my system here.
Can you put that up on the screen?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Madam members of the audience, if you can't calm down, we will work on getting it in the screen. We've never done that, but we'll explore that option. And I think we're going to go ahead and pass out slips. I'm going to ask the chair if we request to speak slips just in case.
Let's move to the Secretary. Let's move to the Secretary of State. Thank you, sir. Spencer or
Before we continue, answer his question. Will you be going to the floor at 1:30 and abandoning this, or are we going to continue?
I'm waiting for the speaker to make that decision. And I can't make the decision.
Someone
I can't
should.
make that decision.
Someone should. If you don't show up,
I can't.
You can tell them what's going on here.
Who do you guys work for again?
Yeah.
Terry, please, the podium is yours. Yes, you're welcome.
You're bad I'm interrupting. Madam Chair, the reason I'm interrupting is because...
Stop talking! Stop talking!
So you're allowed to interrupt, but we're not?
These conversations are just... these up here will be injecting politics into something. I'm here to listen to you all.
These are conversations that are never had or never listened to down here at this council.
Mr. Walton, you tell me how that bill relates to this issue.
Let him talk.
Chair, we're going to go to Geoff Woods.
Yeah, Jeff!
Yes, I do have video testimony. If you can please go to Phoenix Rising Media. Can you do that? Can you go to our Rising Phoenix Media on YouTube? Okay, so everyone here, please go to Rising Phoenix Media on YouTube. This has been documented. I got the beginning. I waited 6 hours and 15 minutes to vote. Okay, 45 minutes to park, 5.5 hours in line. We ordered pizza twice while waiting. Okay, everyone's calling out Michelle Regan and Helen Purcell, and that is totally justifiable. I want to call out one group in particular that should have known about this and alerted the public: the media, the mainstream corporate media here. Anyone covering elections would have known. In 2008 we had 400. Then we went with a uncontested Democratic primary in 2012 with 200 down to 60. It is your fault. You're supposed to be the fourth estate. You did not inform the public. No one knew about early voting, and I want to call the Arizona Democratic Party as well for not letting anyone know that there was early voting. Okay? If they knew there was going to be a problem, you know why they didn't tell anybody? Because they have their candidate already. Her name is Hillary Clinton. Okay? Who do you think was changing all those names? Okay? I know of at least 4,000 people. Okay? There's been 4,000 confirmed people that have the registration changed. Everyone that I know that had the registration changed was a Bernie Sanders supporter. And a nonpartisan recount of this entire vote. We need another day of voting. And the heat for 3 hours. And there was a pastor telling us to show up on Easter Sunday. There is supposed to be a separation of church and state. I expect you to rectify this issue. Thank you.
Dai Dawson. Dai Dawson.
Hi, my name is Dai Dawson.
Dai Dawson.
It doesn't matter yet. My name is Dai Dawson. Great, thanks for coming. I had 4 minutes written. I'm going to shorten it for you folks.
You need to do that.
Use them all. Use them all.
Thank you for giving me permission. We the people know that our electoral process has been corrupted. This is not some sort of conspiracy theory. This is not some sort of sick joke, and this is perhaps especially true in Maricopa County. In 2012, the Spanish sample ballot in my district had the wrong date printed on the Spanish ballot and only on the Spanish ballot. In 2016, polling sites show clear division at McDowell Road. This is especially disturbing because until the late 1960s, people of color were not allowed to live north of McDowell Road. Voter suppression was blatant in Maricopa County. The racially and economically oriented placement of polling sites is disgraceful. I hope that all of you have taken the time to look at a map and see how few polling places were available in South and Southwest Phoenix, south of McDowell Road. The populist fiasco ran as a presidential primary on March 22nd, 2016 needs to be nullified, and constituents need to be allowed to vote. All who are not able to vote need to be recognized, and all votes need to be counted. Many petitions are currently circulating for an investigation of this atrocity and a revote on June 7th. Woo! Hundreds of thousands of signatures on over a dozen such petitions have been seconded. Let that implore you. All right. I spent 5 hours in line. Pandering to the elite while neglecting the poor is a recipe for corruption, and we are a living example right here, right now. The corruption has become so established that it got comfortable. So comfortable that it got lazy. So lazy that you got caught. We demand a revote on June 7th with an open primary. Current corruption needs to be held accountable. I know why they didn't want me to speak.
You had your 2 minutes. Thank you so much for coming. The next individual wishing to speak. The next individual wishing to speak. And the faster we get through this, the more there's an opportunity for everybody to engage.
Okay, I'm Joanne Scott Woods.
Welcome.
I am an early ballot voter. How can I be assured my vote was counted? This voting period has us all questioning that. Please have a published number to confirm our early ballot votes as well as all of our votes as registered. I would also suggest that registered voters who have no record of voting in this election be sent mail-in ballots and also be given the option of going to a polling site during a 5-day window. Utah in 2008 had such a window. I do believe we need a statute of silence, as in this election and perhaps in previous, winners have been called at 1% based on the early ballots casted, which also discourages voting, even in long lines. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself for the record.
Sure, thank you. Madam Chair, members of the committee, Supervisor Steve Gallardo, Maricopa County Board of Supervisors, District 5. Let me start off by saying this, and this is something I hope the legislature takes into consideration, and that is the idea of having another day of voting. Yeah! At the political will there, it can be done. And that's a discussion that has to happen within the legislature, the governor's office. That is a discussion and something that should be done. If not, then I think if there's ever a challenge to the canvass of the election, this is a perfect example. This canvass has to be challenged and allow the courts to decide how to move forward. Because the fact is this, because I was out there at most of these polling places. I drove around as many as I could. And there were a number of people that were disenfranchised. There were. Bottom line. They did everything they were supposed to do. They registered to vote on time. They looked up to find out where they needed to go. They showed up on time. Unfortunately, they were not able to make it all the way up to the polling booth for a number of reasons. That alone, and the number of folks that were in that situation, I believe qualifies for another day of voting. Folks, you listen to a lot of the issues that have been brought up forward right now. These aren't new issues. Many of these bills I've introduced myself sitting as a member of the legislature. I've introduced a bill back in 2008 dealing with independent voters on the presidential primary election. I introduced it in 2013 to allow independents to participate in our presidential election. So this isn't anything new. A lot of the issues that have been brought forward have been bills introduced by current members of the legislature or in the past. So I think we need major overhaul of our election system. We do. We need to address these voter ID provisions. It doesn't work. We just heard from some students right now, some students that have testified. We need to expand it to allow students the opportunity to utilize their student IDs in order to be able to vote. We need monumental changes when it comes to our election laws. So what we can learn from Tuesday is our election system is broken and we've got to fix it. And it comes from the legislature looking at policy. Now, granted, there were some bad decisions made in the recorder's office. No one's going to say there wasn't. But we can learn from these mistakes and make sure in the past these never happen again.
Gallardo, thank you very much for that. That's the point of these.
It's more important than this? Is that more important than this?
It's a choice. It's not a choice that I can.
We were told 2 minutes, and then we listened to someone speak for 20.
Thank you so much for coming. Please.
Thanks for shutting
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of this body. I stand outraged because what I witnessed on Tuesday took me back to the 1950s when voter suppression was at an all-time high. It reminded me of the stories my grandmother would tell about living in Texas as a little girl when she wanted to exercise her rights as a young black woman in these United States of America, and that right was taken away from her. County Recorder Purcell, if you were a private citizen, you would have been terminated for your lack of knowledge. And this is what really made no sense. When the news reporter asked you, you laughed as if the experiences of the people who had taken off of their jobs, which they pay taxes to pay your salary. It was as if it was of no consequence to you. You laughed. Almost like Marie Antoinette before the French Revolution when she said, let them eat cake. If you were a private citizen working for a privately owned company, you would have been terminated without hesitation. And then to come to testify before a joint meeting of the House and Senate, and do you realize the number of times that you said, I do not know, I'll get back to you. The people do not have the time to wait for you to get back to them. This is not a joke. This is not a game. The blood of the people's hands is on you. Therefore, we are asking the Department of Justice to come in. Not only are we asking the Department of Justice to come in, and I want us to all understand something. This is not a partisan issue. This is an American issue. It does not matter if you are elected. It does not matter who your person or candidate was. This was a travesty of justice and made us an international laughing stock. Hey, last thing. I do understand. Last thing. For you to meet less than 24 hours later with someone and proclaim that the problem was solved, let me further know that this was a problem that you knew about. This was a problem that you could have handled. And I'm sorry, the buck stops with you. You should resign at the end of this hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Rev. Megan. Amen. My name is Reginald. You ever started my time?
I did. So you came up with the microphone.
Well, at a point of clarification, I've been told that it's the rule that the chair can make the determination on whether she wants to continue this or not.
Where is she?
In the absence of the chair, I am the acting chair. I'm going to extend the same courtesy to you I've extended to everybody else, which is 2 minutes.
Where's she at?
My name is Randy Badas, and I am a concerned citizen here in the state of Arizona. You know, someone brought this thing about, right now, I'm going to talk about criminal conduct. Because you all spent some time, you brought Ms. Osborne and Ms. Purcell to talk about fraud taking place in the state of Arizona. You talked about criminal conduct. You all made it a felony. If you helped somebody, your neighbor, bring in a ballot, you are a felon if you successfully helped them to vote. You tell me what is the crime now when you deny people the right to vote? Corporation did not deny both people the right to vote. It was under the color and of authority of the county. Tax denied people the right to vote. It used to be called a poll tax. If you could recite Article 1, Section 2 of the Mississippi Constitution, you're denied the right to vote. Now it's called a time tax. If you could put in a certain amount of time, you're denied your right to vote. If you can make it a crime for a citizen to help somebody vote and successfully help them to vote, why can't you make it a crime when you deny 1,000 people the right to vote under the color of authority? You ought to be thankful, Ms. Purcell, because if you were a Democrat, every elected Republican would go after you. You would resign.
Respect, Mr. Perez.
Excuse me. You want to talk about respect? You want to deny people the right to vote? You want to talk about respect? When you treat a crime to help someone vote, you want to talk about respect? You have no respect.
I have 30 more minutes. We can extend this 30 more minutes. And how the next 30 minutes is handled will be dictated by everybody in attendance. If we want to make it a productive 30 minutes, we can. We can continue testimony and get through as many people as possible. If there's disturbances, if there's outbursts, then I will end it right now and we won't be able to get as many other people to the podium. So I've been told, sir, you're proving and making my points. Thank you. Everyone who's, thank you. We want to make sure we get as many, I've got 30 more minutes. I've been told I have 30 more minutes. Then I'm able to extend this hearing. Then I would like to make sure I get as many people as possible. We're here and in it together. This is a public forum. Yes. Please finish.
That was 2 minutes.
No, let him talk.
Let him talk. I just want to say this, ma'am. You're asking us to trust the very same people that created this mess to come back in May and fix it? Are you out of your mind? At what point? What if it was 8 hours? You have to have a threshold. At what point does it become incompetence?
Sir, your 2 minutes are done, and I'm
going to all own up and be real leaders.
2 minutes are over. We're getting the next individual. Now remember, next 30 minutes.
If we mention
Not, sir. All right, outburst. I need you to leave. Then let's make this next 30 minutes a productive one. We have one, ma'am at the podium. Your 2 minutes starts now. Thank you so much.
My name is Samantha Pstross. I'm the executive director of the Arizona Advocacy Network. I think most of you know me very well. I've been here all year. And I commend you for having this committee. I think it's wonderful that we can hear from the Secretary of State, from the county recorder. But I'm very deeply concerned that it's all for show and that nothing substantial gets And I have several reasons for that concern. One is that there's absolutely no reason why the floor cannot wait. I encourage everyone to contact Speaker Gallardo. We're putting his information up on our Twitter handle, Arizona Advocacy, on Twitter, to urge him to push the floor back so that everyone here can speak today.
Yeah!
I'm also deeply concerned because I have sat in this committee and I have heard a bill sponsored by the chairwoman, Eugenti Rita, that makes it a Class 6 felony to deliver someone's ballot for them. I can go up to a year in jail and $150,000 just for delivering someone's ballot, and that was sponsored by the chairwoman here today. It passed through this committee on party line. I'm concerned about voters, but when that bill came through here, it did not appear that you were concerned about
30 seconds.
Finally, there's a bill today that went through. Did not pass on party lines, perhaps. Sorry. There was also a bill that's going to be here today that completely rewrites campaign finance law. It will put special interest will be in charge of who we get elected. And it's very clear today that who we elect matters, from Secretary of State down to County Recorder. Voting is absolutely essential. And when we have money in politics, that is a barrier. They talked about it earlier. It's SB 1516. It's nearly 60 pages long. It has been shoved through this legislative session. And the Secretary of State is the one behind it who's been pushing it the entire time, although it was unfortunate she missed the committee hearing when it came through here. So I urge everyone to please, let's wait on the floor, and I would like to see some real action being done, because we have another election in 50 days, another one 5 months from now, and then one after that in 7.5 months. When a person does not have reasonable access to voting, they are being denied the right to vote. Thank you.
Old gaze, you're staring me down there.
Yes.
I registered to vote as a Republican. I was denied my right to vote. They gave me a fraudulent identification as party not declared. I have not changed my address in 10 years. I registered to vote on time. I was robbed of my vote. Wow. This is a serious crime. This is as serious as rape. This is as serious as murder. This is a rape and murder of our democracy. Yes! And I demand that someone be held accountable. If not you, Ms. Purcell, then who? If not you, Ms. Reagan, then Secretary. This is a high crime, and there must be punishment. If there is not punishment, then we do not live in a system of law. And I give up the balance of my time. Thank you.
Shayna Stevens, followed by Robert Smith.
Technical information that I would like to give you about how the poll books worked or didn't work, which I can't do in a minute. But I want to mention a couple of things. No one yet has mentioned what happened to the poll book that I was using and I know other people in my precinct were using. And that is, when you get to the last screen for a provisional voter, it comes up, select party, select ballot type. The type being which TD district you were in. 9-1, etc. So I would, sometimes I actually had their registered voter card. It would say Dem. I would select Dem. I would go down to select ballot type. It would only give me Republican. This started at 9:30 in the morning. I called over the inspector. We went over everything. We could not fix it. This is what we did. From then on, and I started keeping track of what was happening. It happened for 36 times for the rest of the day, and I kept track of every one. And what happened then was I was required, supposedly, to give them a Republican ballot, which I did not do. I gave them a Dem ballot.
30 seconds.
I pushed the tracker receipt. On it, I wrote was Dem. So they could audit it and see why there were more Dem ballots gone. They could actually check the audits. And then they voted the way that they said they voted. And sometimes I actually had their registration card that said how they were registered. And as far as changing the voter registration, I started keeping track at 5 o'clock and I worked till 8. I had 19 times that a Democrat was called a Republican and 3 times that a Republican was called a Democrat. So in answer to some of your questions, we did run out of ballots. There seems many things Ms. Purcell does not know. We did run out of ballots. We ran out of CD9 and we ran out of CD5. I've done this for over 20 years. That was the smallest room I've ever worked in, and it had the least parking I ever worked in. At the last election, we used the same poll books. I was the inspector of that election in my precinct. We never had one problem. So something changed between then and now.
Thank you for your personal experience. Let's hear what you have to say. Let's use our time wisely. We have a question. I thought it was really relevant testimony. Representative Carter, please.
Thank you. That's why I wanted to clarify the name. Did you email all of the members of the committee? Okay, because I want to make sure that because I want to let you know that I turned that story in, and I really appreciate you taking time to email us to provide those kind of details, because with those kind of details, we can hopefully find out what went wrong.
All right, stop wasting time. Calling people to speak, I signed up on Saturday.
Okay.
To speak
Thank you. But thank you for emailing the committee members, just so you know we didn't.
Thank you for your ingenuity too. That was
Activists are being silenced.
To leave, we have
Please state your name.
It takes 2 minutes.
Just state your name.
My name is Barbara Brown. I went to the church on 7th Avenue. I live in Maricopa County for 40 years. And I had to leave. There was no disability parking, and there was no
Madam Chair, just let her speak.
No ADA compliance. I want that on record.
Let her talk.
This is a lie that was disseminated in the pamphlet.
No, the microphone is on.
I will
give
up a minute of my time to let Madam Chair.
Thank you. You didn't want to arrest me. I'm glad you got to jail.
Mr. Martinez has given up a minute of his time.
He's given up 1 minute of
You
his
have 1
time.
minute.
You have 1 minute now.
1 minute. My name is Barbara Brown. I'm a registered voter.
You shush.
Okay, my name is Barbara Brown. I'm a registered voter. I'm 70 years old. I've been a registered voter here for 40 years. I went to the church and I could not find any handicap parking. I couldn't find any parking for 45 minutes. Stayed online from 5:45 till 10 o'clock. I was in extreme pain. I already heard that people who stayed in line and voted were brave and tenacious. I am both brave and I am very tenacious. Take my word for it. So the people who had to leave, it's not because they weren't brave or they weren't tenacious. They just couldn't wait. 4 hours was more than enough. Not only that, I am on the early voter list, and I'm saying I did get a vote. And then either it was misplaced or mailed accidentally. I was going to hand deliver it. I went into the voting place and said I was handicapped, said I had an early vote, but I wasn't sure what happened. Could they check? And I checked on the internet. There was no way of checking. They said I had to wait online and do a provisional vote. I said, I'm going to have to leave then because I can't stand online. They said, there's nothing we can do. We got this handout this morning, and it said ADA compliant. It was not. There was no parking.
Thank you so much. Your minute's up. I appreciate your testimony. And we have, this will be our last speaker.
I say we go up to the legislature and get in the balcony.
Stay in the room.
Stay in the room. Don't leave. Keep your seats. Keep your seats.
Go tell them
there are still more of us.
1560. No, this bill is terrible.
Dude,
he hasn't done anything.
Why are you removing him?
Shame! Don't you touch him! Shame! Shame!
Keep your hand off of me, you understand me?
Shame! You're the one falling all over us, you big ass! Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame! 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 Shame!
Hey, let him go! Stop, man!
Let him go! Shame on you! Shame on you! Let him go!
Let him go!
Let him go!
You have no right.
Let him go!
He did not do anything!
Do you work for Sheriff Joe? Let him go!
Get the fuck out of here.
Get away from him! Get away!
Phone that works to
Get this guy, please. Get this guy.
Get him away! Get away!
You don't need any. He's not doing anything.
Get away from him right now!
Sit down. It's his right.
He wasn't even saying anything! Get away from him!
He wasn't fucking doing anything.
Get away from him!
Leave
Admit
him alone.
defeat and get away!
Leave him alone.
He just sat there.
Admit defeat and walk away! Walk away!
Just sat there.
Tell me something.
Why is he being removed? Why are you trying to remove him? Why is he being removed?
Just sat there.
You need to leave him alone!
For what? For what reason?
He needs to get out!
Chanting already left.
He left!
The guy that was chanting left.
Exercising his rights.
He didn't do anything.
He was not chanting. He was not making noise. You get away from him.
You already kicked him out.
He's wearing an anonymous mask and has dreadlocks, and that's why you're here. Get away from him. Get away.
Go arrest Helen Purcell.
You did not.
Get away from that citizen.
Go arrest someone down there that's a real fucking criminal.
You did not see him chanting.
Get away from that man.
You are sending the wrong message.
He said the speaker wanted him removed. He said the speaker wanted him removed.
I know who he is, and he arrested me.
You did nothing wrong.
He's asked that you leave too. I know you want to film this, but as soon as that's done, you'll need to go too.
You need to get out of my face, sir.
All right, you're going to be arrested if you don't leave.
I've got your name on film too.
Okay.
Just being quiet.
Just get away from him.
Just being peaceful.
Just get away from him. Get away from him.
Let him be.
Get away! Hey! What are you doing?
This is wrong. This is wrong.
Guys, that is not okay.
This is not okay.
Shame! 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 Shame!
Let go! Get your fucking
Hey, don't push him.
Oh my God!
That is not okay.
Oh my God!
He didn't fucking do anything.
What are you doing?
That is not okay.
You're breaking my shirt. He's not doing anything. You're wrong.
This is shameful.
Let him go. Just fucking let him go. He's not doing anything.
He's just.
Oh my
Come on,
God!
this is ridiculous. I have a constitutional right to be here.
Unacceptable.
He's not doing anything. Nobody's doing anything.
You people are a shame! You're a shame!
This is not okay.
It's right!
I do not want to.
You are sending the absolute wrong message to everyone up here.
You're part of this caucus.
Wrong message.
We the people of the United States are tired of this stuff.
Why don't you guys fucking do something about this?
You all control this.
All he did was sit there! Are you hearing me?
What crime is he being arrested for? What crime is he being arrested for? What crime is he being charged for?
You are hurting trespassing. You are unnecessarily hurting me.
No, you did not.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Don't touch me, you fat chubby!
You are hurting me.
Stop it! Stop it! They're killing him!
Get back.
They are killing him!
He's choking him out. He's choking him out. Don't choke him out.
He's choking him! No! Oh my God!
Get back! He's choking him out. Get back! He's choking.
No, he's not.
Just get back. You're not peaceful. Get back. You're losing your job. Get back. Get back. Get back. Don't touch me. Get back.
Get off of me, please!
You touch him. You get back. You get back.
Get off of me!
Over the chair. Let go of him. That's the problem. Let go of him.
It looks like no one can even see now. We all saw it, and now you guys are blocking it. We can't even see it.
Taps you on the shoulder that he's choking.
Sergeant!
I just asked him to breathe.
Shame! 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 Shame!
I had to literally run out of there right now.
Look at this. Look at the parking lot.
What? Tell me what happened. I want to document it, if you don't mind.
There was a protester in there minding his business. He had an anonymous mask on top of his head. The guy that was chanting, he got sent out. He was in compliance.
Upstairs?
Upstairs in the upstairs.
The gallery.
In the gallery, absolutely. This man, before you know it, 4 arms were on him.
Let me see what happened.
And I tried to film it and try to see what happened.
And they grabbed you, didn't they?
And they grabbed me, and they
That's
wouldn't let me go. I had to physically run out of there.
I'm glad you're okay.
We also have other observers that were starting to inject themselves into that arrest.
Lies.
Grabbing our officers by touching those officers, and that's when they're putting themselves at risk to also be placed under arrest for obstructing justice. This person will be booked into Maricopa County charges for trespassing and resisting arrest.
I was told by the there that he was there peacefully, he wasn't part of the protesters.
Again, ma'am, I wasn't there. What I was told was he was not. He may have been peaceful, but he was obstructed to the hearing and was asked to leave by the sergeant. Once the sergeant at arms, they're the ones that control the show. Once they ask us to remove them, that's all we do is we ask them to leave. The sergeant at arms had also asked them to leave several times. So if he was peaceful, why wouldn't he just leave after putting out his message and being asked to leave? That's not what happened.
Was arrested in the arrest. Someone else was sorted out. Is that was arrested too?
No, they obeyed the command of the sergeant at arms and left peacefully. They are not arrested. They're not being charged with anything.
They have a First Amendment right to speak their piece until the point that the Sergeant at Arms says they're now disrupting Capitol business. Once that happens, a person is asked to leave and they're required to leave. If they don't release leave after that point, then they'll be arrested for trespassing.
Captain, as best you know, officers went up to him and asked him to leave, and what took place from that point on?
Well, it wasn't just officers. I want to make it clear, it wasn't just troopers that asked him to leave. It was the Sergeant of Arms. They're the ones that have the final say of what happened. So that's what happened. The Sergeant of Arms asked him to leave. He refused. It appeared to be disrupted. And that's when the Sergeant of Arms asked troopers to step in.
When you say disrupted, just be clear, what was he doing that was disrupted after he was asked to?
Reports to me were that he was yelling, whatever slogans he was yelling, he was being verbally disruptive, not allowing representatives to obtain testimony or whatever they were about to run.
Would you be surprised if I told you I don't know what took place with him prior, but once officers went up to him, everybody that I've talked to that's working, every single one of them says he did not say a word. Did that surprise you? Afterwards, when officers came up to him, he did not say a word. So I don't know what took place maybe an hour earlier, but...
Well, let's talk about what you're saying. You're saying after he was asked to leave.
No, I'm saying when officers approached him.
You got to understand, it's the Sergeant of Arms in the State House.
My ass and stood on top of me screaming. Well, there we go.
I wasn't even here. So there's your witness statement.
Oh, her video is funny.
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
But go ahead and laugh at us, because we pay your salary.
I will laugh at you. Because
Wow.
that's my right to laugh at you. Is it not?
Well, I'm glad you're right. I don't know. I think you're supposed to protect and serve.
Yes.
Awesome. So that doesn't include laughing at people who pushing them are to the ground.
Laughing at people?
You just said it's your right to
I
laugh
laughed
at
at
us.
you. I didn't laugh at
No, you laughed
anybody
at
else.
her, and I
laughed
stood
at
up for.
you.
Oh.
I laughed at you because
That's
she said
extremely
something.
professional for someone that pays your salary.
Yes, it is. Actually, it is.
You're messed up, dude. As are all men that wear a badge. Messed up.
All men that wear a badge?
Messed up. Okay. That's my right to have my opinion.
Well,
there we go.
make sure that you tell these folks that I was the one who pushed you down.
I have it on
I
film
know.
who it is that pushed me down.
Yeah,
we'll make sure these
You
folks
told them
all
it
get
was
the
me.
video. I said
She said she thinks.
It looked like it could have been you.
No,
Without
you said
your
it was
stupid
me.
hat. No, I didn't. I have witnesses right here to hear what I said.
All white men look alike, right?
We all have it
You
on
said
our
that?
phones.
Very good,
The
ma'am.
footage is already posted to Facebook.
I know, I've seen it. I've seen it all.
So did we have it right in front
But you just said you weren't there.
I said I saw it on Facebook. I saw the video.
Oh, well, it happened right in front of our eyes. And not only was the man held to the ground for over 5 minutes, but a Capitol Police attacked another person in the gallery for no reason at all.
Unprovoked.
Just
Grabbed him, tore his clothes.
grabbed him and violently attacked him for no reason at all. You officers work for us. We pay your salary. And you better start serving and protecting and respecting the American people, because we have had enough.
Up to here with your bullshit cop attitude.
Enough.
Seriously. We are tired of being manhandled and locked up in cuffs and dragged out of the place where we're supposed to be able to hear our voices. And you guys are complicit. The state is corrupt from the
And
top
you
to the
laugh
bottom.
at us. And you think it's okay that you laugh at us? What does that say? He's saying he thinks it's okay that you laugh at us. You are officials that are supposed to serve us. We need to call for your resignation, sir. What was your name again?
DM Cecil.
DM Cecil. We'll be calling for your resignation next.
Mr. Cecil, who asked him to be taken out of the building? Clearly someone had to make that decision.
I already said that in the original.
He said it was the
interview.
sergeant at arms.
Because we were all chanting. He wasn't the only person chanting. I was chanting and nobody tried to remove me.
This is a 17-year-old that was assaulted by police in this mess, ladies and
Does
gentlemen.
anybody
have a video of 17 years old?
With dreadlocks and Guy Fawkes mask on the top of his head. He was sitting quietly in the gallery when 4 or 5 police officers took him to the ground right there in the gallery. They held him on the floor for over
His neck was
5
on the back of the chair.
minutes.
His neck was on the back of the chair, and they were pushing him down. And I have it all on video. I also have
Yeah, a bunch of us do.
unprovoked assault of the other guy that was wearing the purple shirt. An officer came by me in the aisle, pushed me aside so that he could go and circle back and attack that guy.
At any point, we were told that he was
No.
Geoff Woods is a friend of ours. He's an activist. At the very beginning, when we first walked in there, he started yelling, revote, revote, revote. We were all joining him for a while. No, he is not. Because when we were asked to cease and desist, having been prosecuted for trespassing in this building before, I've been arrested for trespassing in this building before, trying to express my rights. Okay, he left the building. He said, "Don't touch me. I'm leaving. Just don't touch me." And he left on his own accord. After that, several minutes after Geoff left, we were all sitting minding our own business. The man with the Guy Fawkes mask and dreadlocks was sitting behind me quietly, not making a sound, was approached on two directions. Two directions by officers who started demanding that he come with them. He didn't say anything about the speaker has asked for you to leave. They didn't ask him 3 times like they're supposed to before they evict you forcibly. They said, "You come with us." And we said, "Why? I'm just sitting here." Everyone around is saying he's just sitting there. Leave him alone. It was shameful. It will be uploaded on video.
Her down, and she was just sitting there.
I was
How
standing.
do you do that?
I was standing, and he was making us all move back, and I wouldn't move, and so he pushed me over.
Mother Earth will swallow you. Come lay your body down. Find the cost of freedom buried in the ground. Mother Earth will swallow you. Come lay your body down and sing it. Bye bye, Miss American Pie. I drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing, "This'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die." And come November, you're all fired.